Here's my review of Supergirl. Now, I've seen a lot of people talk about this movie. Some people are absolutely trashing it, and others are saying it's real good. I thought it was solid, but it's not great, and it's one of those things where it specifically stands out because James Gunn, he's not the director of this movie, but the CEO of DC Studios, said how we're not going to put out a movie or a show until the script is complete, until we're 100% satisfied, and all this stuff. And the problem is, it's like what, and he kept tearing down, like, kept obviously taking shots at Marvel, which I agree with some of those shots. But then you put out Supergirl, which, like I said, I don't think it's as bad as everyone's saying, but I don't think it's great. It's just an okay movie. But the thing is, in this day and age of superhero movies and shows, because we're in such an oversaturation, and I'm still one of those people that I do not believe in superhero movie fatigue. There's no such thing. It's bad movie fatigue. It's mediocre superhero movie fatigue. These are the kinds of movies that we're kind of sick of. This is not a terrible movie. I don't think so. I think some people are destroying it, and it's really not that bad. But it's not great. Let's start with the positives. I think that Millie Alcock is great in this movie. I think that she genuinely gives a really good performance, and she's kind of giving off a little bit of Jessica Jones vibes with her alcoholism and her just kind of like, it's cool to see such a distinct contrast of her cousin Superman. And there's a lot of fun stuff in here, and I think that, like I say, Millie Alcock is good in this movie, but she's not really the most likable character. And it's like, when you have a main character who's not super likable, well, then the movie's not as enjoyable as it should be. The basic plot of this movie is her dog, Crypto, gets poisoned by Creme, and she has like 3 days to find this antidote to save her dog. And it's one of those things where it feels almost intentionally a little cheap because, I mean, anyone with a brain stems knows going into this movie that they're not going to kill the dog. So the stakes are, like, we have the stakes that are there. We're like, okay, we're on a timer. But at the same time, it's like, we know, obviously, they're not going to kill the dog. And they don't. So it is, like, for the plot, it just kind of feels shallow. And then the villain of Creme is just so generic and just uninteresting. It's just not, like, he's like a bad MCU phase 1 or 2 villain. It just doesn't work. In this movie, it's one thing that's fascinating is a lot of people were saying how, like, when the trailers first came out, they like pointed out how it like looks a lot like Guardians of the Galaxy, obviously directed by James Gunn. And it is fascinating where, yeah, it does kind of feel like the director, Craig Gillespie, I don't know how to pronounce it, was kind of trying to do it imitation of a James Gunn project, where it's like, why? Just do your own thing. It's kind of weird. But yeah, the villain here is just so forgettable. I will say, though, Lobo, played by Jason Momoa, he really is a blast. I think you watch this movie and you can just tell. It's always in my opinion, it's always such a delight in a movie when you can clearly tell that an actor's having fun. And Jason Momoa is basically the embodiment of that kind of actor, because in almost any project that he's in, you could always tell he's just having such a fun time. Whether it's Aquaman, Minecraft, that movie he did earlier this year on Prime Video with Dave Bautista, whatever it was called. It was like the Hawaii thing. He was clearly having so much fun here, and he's having a lot of fun here, and he's probably the best part of this movie, although he's not in it that much, unfortunately. But he is great. And there is, I think, a pretty good dynamic between Kara and Ruthie. And I think that some people, like I said, some people who are completely tearing down this movie are ignoring some of the genuinely good things in this movie. Like, I think the dynamic between Kara and Ruthie, I quite enjoyed. I enjoyed them. And it was cool seeing more of the flashbacks of Krypton. And And you got more of those scenes where it was Kara's father, when we see like Superman as a baby get shipped off, and then they call back to, of course, what we learned in the first Superman movie is like, oh, there goes Jor-El's Conqueror of Worlds, and you watch it, you're like, it's almost kind of weird because it's also like, yeah, we know that from the first Superman movie, even though a lot of people don't like that. I personally don't mind them changing it up. But at the same time, it feels weird. Like, it was like, oh, yeah, you guys remember from the Superman movie that came out last year? It's like, yeah, like, you don't have to spell it out. We remember. It just seems like an odd line to put there. But it just kind of was like, what? Why would you say that? It felt so out, like, you have to intentionally just like exposition dump, and it felt kind of forced. It is pretty interesting, though. I will say, like, how with the plot of with when we have Kara with Ruthie basically on this revenge quest, and Kara's telling her like, oh, revenge is not the answer and stuff like that. That is a pretty compelling idea, and I enjoyed it for the most part. It's just weird because you're watching this movie, and throughout the movie she keeps trying to tell Ruthie killing's not the answer and revenge, and then she just kills Krem at the end anyways. So it's like, do you not like want to give her a character arc? It's weird. Like, it's what lesson did Kara learn in this movie? It just feels kind of odd because you're like, oh, revenge won't bring you like, and I'm fine with Supergirl killing, but it's like at the same time, because I get the point. It's like, she's not Superman, she's not her cousin, but at the same time, it's like, why do you like push this idea where it's like, oh yeah, I don't want to kill, and then she just does at the end? It just felt kind of out of left field and just random. Because why do you have... I get that she wants to preserve Ruthie's innocence, but it just felt a little weird. I will say, I do think that really the best parts of this movie are with Jason Momoa's Lobo, because he just brings... He doesn't really add much to the plot. You could write him out of this movie. It doesn't really make a difference. But he's always such a blast to see in this movie, and he really is just so much fun. But just the plot overall is just not super interesting. So like I said, I don't think that this movie is as bad as so many people are saying. I enjoyed it. I did. I don't think that it's amazing. I'd give it, if it's like, it's just annoying because there's so many things in this movie that just frustrate me. I think that all the performances are great, but just some of the writing is just not good, and it's frustrating. I think that this is an enjoyable movie, but it's not great. It's like barely good, and it's very frustrating, which just makes me mad. But there are a lot of good things in here, and I still did leave the movie where I'm like, I do want to see this character again, but just maybe with some different writers. And I did like the short Superman cameo. It was fun too. Overall, it was okay.